Welcome to your May edition of Cardano360, our monthly catch-up with the people and projects building out the Cardano ecosystem. Now, with consensus around the corner and preparation for the Vasil hard fork in full swing, it's a shorter show than usual today, focused on highlights from our videos from this month, but stick around for some of the key updates. Before we begin, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for all the latest Cardano content and news from the team here at IOG. Let's dive right in. Now, as an ecosystem grows, the blockchain gets bigger, and with that, a corresponding increase in sync times. Being able to sync faster and verify with full confidence, even when you don't download the full chain, opens up a whole range of use cases, including things like secure, decentralized, light wallets. Now, for those of you who might not be familiar with Mithril, it's designed to provide a certified snapshot of the chain's state, which allows SPOs and developers to more easily verify the information and bootstrap a Cardano node without having to download or verify the full chain. Let's find out more.
Now, hello everyone, my name is Roy, and I am a project manager for a number of projects at IOG, including what we are here to talk about today, Mithril. For those of you who may not be familiar with Mithril, it is a stake-based threshold signature scheme for proof-of-stake protocols. To share an update on where we are, is the architect of the program, Arnaud Bailey. Thanks for joining me in this update. So, to get started, can you give us an overview of the overall goal of this project?
The goal of Mithril is that, as you know, running a Cardano node is currently the only way to interact with Cardano in a truly trustless way, because it's a network of Cardano nodes which gives the Cardano consensus protocol its properties, like safety and the ability to reach a consensus. But as we all know, booting and synchronizing a Cardano node is a slow process. It requires downloading and verifying all the blocks comprising the chain one after another. And the goal of Mithril is to leverage the existing Cardano network of SPOs to provide certified snapshots of the chain state. Those snapshots could be in different form. The simplest one would be, of course, to provide a snapshot that would be suitable to run the Cardano as is, what we call the node's pure DB. But we could imagine also providing snapshots, certified snapshots of the full UTXO set, which would make it possible for light wallets to rely on those kind of certificates. And the interesting thing is that those certificates produced by Mithril, the Mithril protocol, have the same security properties that the underlying consensus that drives Cardano, which is the Ouroboros Browse protocol, which means that Mithril clients have the same trustless guarantees as normal Cardano node users would. And an important thing is that we want to be able to provide this feature on top of the network and without interfering with the normal operation of the Cardano network. In a non-intrusive way. So Mithril would strictly be an additional feature and provide additional service on top of the existing network.
Thank you, Arnaud. Can you explain us in more detail how Mithril works?
Mithril works thanks to some clever cryptographic scheme, which takes into account the amount of stake each owner owns to produce signatures. So at some interval, some predefined intervals, the stake owners will attempt to sign the current state of the chain. Depending on the Mithril parameters and the amount of stake they own, they will be able to issue one or more signatures. One analogy that you can use to think about it is the lottery. So depending on the amount of stake, you draw tickets from a lottery, and depending on the amount of stakes you draw, so depending on for example, on the amount of tickets you bought, your chances of having a winning ticket are higher. And so this is the same for Mithril, and this is the same idea. The thing is that you can potentially have several winning tickets. Once enough winning tickets have been drawn over all the stake pool owners, then a certificate can be issued, which provides a certified signature of the current state of the chain from some share of the stake owners, some predefined share. And this is what we call a snapshot. And now the snapshot is made available to clients, and the clients can verify it. They can verify these snapshots by checking the aggregate signatures from all the lottery winners, so to speak, and so from all the signers, and check that they are actually legit. And potentially, this check rests on checking also that the stake distribution is legit and the stake distribution is correct, and this is done through checking the chain of certificate down to some general certificate. And once they have verified the validity of the certificate, then now they can just download the snapshot itself, bootstrap the node without having to go through the hassle of verifying everything.
Now, I know that in the Cardano Summit, we introduced Mithril. And since then, the team has made a great progress, especially in the Mithril aggregator component. So, can you tell us a little more, please?
The first step was to implement the needed cryptographic primitives, which rely on somewhat advanced mathematics and which were not available out of the box in standard primitives that are available on the market. This library, which we call Mithril Core, is now more or less feature complete. So the foundational part is ready. What we are currently working on is a first version of what we call the Mithril network, so to speak, which is with the goal of making it fast and easy to bootstrap a Cardano node. There are a lot of moving parts to get right. We have this notion of a signer. The signer part will be run by SPOs and responsible for issuing signatures of snapshots, so drawing the lottery tickets, as I explained before. We have the Mithril client on the other side, which will be the one that will validate the certificates and downloading snapshots. And an important role is played also by the Mithril aggregator. So the Mithril aggregator is the party that is responsible for aggregating signatures to create certificates that will be used by clients. And also, even more importantly, the aggregator will be responsible for storing and distributing the snapshots themselves. These snapshots are somewhat huge, like tens of gigabytes, really, for a main chain. And potentially, we all know that this will keep growing over time. So signing and developing those is a problem which you can imagine is just like delivering a movie, like a high resolution movie in 4K. It's also several tens of gigabytes, or potentially several tens of gigabytes. So how do you do it efficiently? And the aggregator really, it has a very important role in making that efficient for all the clients. What we're doing now is, for the sake of simplicity and for really the first step, is to implement this aggregator in a centralized way and to have the Mithril signers and the Mithril aggregator communicate with each other directly through some calls. But the end goal is really to have a fully decentralized and distributed solution. And this is something that we have already started thinking about and will be working in next steps. This first MVP is really to have the signers and the aggregators work in a decentralized way so that new aggregators could be easily built up and with different ways of distributing those snapshots of aggregating signatures and delivering the value to the clients, potentially with innovative schemes, distribution schemes. So think IPFS or even BitTorrent, if you think about it, could be used for that, and with different business model and different incentives.
All of these sound really, really exciting, Arnaud. Thank you. So, what is on the horizon for the next phase of Mithril?
We are in the final stages of cleaning up the code in preparation for open sourcing the whole library. So we plan to open source it after the conference and somewhere around June, and also provide some user-friendly documentation to help everyone get started on Mithril. The short-term goal is to reach a stable enough state of the system that we can put it in the hands of the community members for beta testing on testnet. In a few months from now, once we have gathered enough momentum and enough experience from running on the testnet, then the next stage will be general availability on the mainnet.
So for more information about Mithril, check the Summit video or check the link below. Thank you.
So thanks to Roy and Arnaud for that update. The building continues, and we'll be showcasing and celebrating just how far we've come and where we're going next at Consensus in Austin, Texas this year. Taking place between the 9th and the 12th of June, it's arguably the most important blockchain event of the year, where the great and the good, and plenty of other people besides, get together and discuss the future of our industry. Now, if you're not planning to attend the event itself, we wanted to make sure you don't miss out on the fun. Together with Emergo and the Cardano Foundation, we're hosting a special free community event at the Palmer Center on the 8th of June. Join Charles, me, and many of the IOG team, plus a few of the projects building on Cardano. Projects like Indigo, Cardashift, SundaySwap, Genius Yield, Oracle Charlie 3, Giro Wallet, JPEG Store, Meld, World Mobile, Coty, Veritree, Wolfram, OneChain, Pavia, Cornucopia's Games, CNFT.io, and many more. Also, if you're a developer and you want a crash course in Plutus, including the latest June enhancements, or go from zero to hero in Marlow, join us for a special developer workshop and hackathon on the 13th of June. You'll find all the links you need to sign up below. Talking of events and looking a little further ahead to October, Rare Bloom is a networking and educational event slated for October the 14th to the 15th in Denver, Colorado. It's the brainchild of Big Pay, a Cardano AG who many of you will know through his regular videos. Let's hear more now from Peyton and Matt, and straight after that, Matt will meet a few more projects building on Cardano. This time, Cardashift and Paribus.
Thank you for being on the 360 show with us today. Can you tell the community a little bit about your background, how you came to be organizing a Cardano community event, and a little bit about the event itself?
Yeah, so my name is Peyton, and I've actually run a YouTube channel since 2017, all about Cardano. My goal has been focusing on education, and on that channel, I've done podcasts with Charles, Ben Gortzel, Sunday Swap, and many of the great, people adding value to the community. And because of that network that I've built up in the past few years, I saw an issue, and the issue is we don't have in-person events for networking, for education, just like Ethereum and Bitcoin does. And now that we have Alonzo, the time is here. There are people building, and this event really is going to lay the ghost chain narrative to rest, and that event is the Rare Bloom. The Rare Bloom is actually going to be on October 14th and 15th. In Denver, Colorado. It's going to be a 2-day event. We're going to be live streaming the event for people. We're going to have live performances. One that I'm really excited for is the performance with Ben Gortzel and an AI robot named Desdemona. It's actually a band going to be performing live at the event. On top of that, there's actually resources for people to join this industry. We're going to have booths where people can submit applications. There's also going to be a stage for pitching, so new projects and new ideas. So, people are going to come to this event and find partners and build businesses that are going to add a huge amount of value to the blockchain. And right now, if you go to rarebloom.io, you can purchase your tickets with a 10% discount with Pay10, capital P-E-Y. And then we're actually utilizing the Cardano blockchain here. You can pay in ADA, and each ticket is an NFT that comes with an additional NFT from one of the partner projects. And if you purchase before June 15th, you're going to get a second additional NFT with that. So thank you for having me on, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.
You as well, Peyton. It's great to see the Cardano community driving the ecosystem with these kinds of events and initiatives. This week I got the chance to speak with a couple of the projects building on Cardano. We spoke with Cardashift, who update us on their progress, and Paribus, who introduced their project here for the first time on Cardano360. Welcome, Denise. Thank you for being on the show. So can you tell the community a little bit about Paribus?
Paribus is a cross-chain borrow and lending platform. Our main USPs is that we are supporting conventional assets as a collateral form, such as ADA, Bitcoin, ETH, to borrow against. But what sets us really apart is we want to support NFTs as a collateral, liquidity pool tokens, so OP tokens, and synthetics as well. So combined all together, Paribus is a new version of DeFi borrow and lending platform.
And what are the advantages of building on Cardano? Why start here?
Cardano ticks one of the biggest boxes for us in terms of what we look for when we think about cryptocurrencies, which is decentralization. Decentralization is very important for us because the whole promise behind cryptocurrencies was that we will build an ecosystem across the globe, regardless of your location and your socioeconomic background. And I think one of the few currencies that achieve this true promise is Cardano. We want to be able to build a protocol on a network that benefits everyone, not selective few. And on top of all this, given the scalability that Cardano has, as well as cheap transaction fees for DeFi work, it just made sense for us to build on Cardano and bring that extra liquidity into the Cardano ecosystem.
Excellent. So what stage are you guys at now?
We have been developing our MVP for the past 6 months. We have just got back our audit reports from Hacken, and we are fixing those audit conclusions at the moment. So for the next 2 weeks, there'll be fixes going on. And then we are going to send the report back to Hacken. Obviously, they will take another look. And then once everything's finalized, we're hoping to go live with our MVP within the next 2 months sometime. I can't give a very specific date. It's just sort of very fluid at the moment. And at the same time, we sort of put in marketing plan in action so that the MVP is launched along with a good marketing plan to draw in the liquidity that the platform will require.
Okay, now I'd like to take a step back. How do you guys think about your project niche, where Paribus sits there, and how it develops over the long term?
one of the main things that sets us apart from our competitors is that we don't do peer-to-peer valuation. We don't do manual valuations for NFTs like some of the competitors like Nexo.io, for example. They're not in the Cardano ecosystem, but that's one example. What we do is we base our valuations on AI-based models that we have been developing for the past 7-8 months. And now we're partnering up with other AI model developers who are actually helping us share data and make the models better overall. So because of this automated valuation ability, it makes our platform very scalable in that when nobody has to sort of sign off valuations, it's all code that sort of gives you valuation back. Whereas P2P, there has to be a match. So because of the scalability, I think Paribus will grow to become the place to go when you have an NFT that you want to utilize aside from selling it. So when you have an NFT in your hand that's of decent value and you need the liquidity to fund whatever your next venture is, Paribus should be the first platform that comes to your mind, whether you're within C NFTs or just NFTs in general. It doesn't matter because of our interoperability. So we want to make sure we become the de facto borrowing lending platform when you're thinking about unconventional assets. This could be NFTs, this could be metaverse lands, because metaverse lands are essentially NFTs at tech level. This could be LP tokens or synthetics. So this is our vision for the next 5 years, to essentially become Compound or Avi of NFT world.
Amazing. Thank you, Denise.
Thanks for having me.
Now over to you, Vincent. Welcome to the show. Thanks for coming back on. Can you update the community for anyone who wasn't aware? What is Cardashift?
Cardashift is all about empowering citizens to become actors of change by letting them vote for and fund initiatives aiming at solving social and environmental challenges. To do that, we are launching a community-driven launchpad and an acceleration program led by the 3 companies behind Cardashift, which are mainly SmartChain, a blockchain engineering company, STIM, an innovation lab helping corporates in their sustainability strategy, and Matters, which is a startup studio working on product and designing product for 14 years now.
So a lot has happened in the past few months since Cardashift was last on with us. Can you give us an update? Where is Cardashift at now?
Since the last show, we did successfully raise $10 million in our ICO, and then we focused mainly on 4 topics, which were 1, sourcing the projects. We had 250 projects, and we gotta select them. So we selected 10 projects, and we make them ready for the voting phase. That's 1. 2, we developed the launchpad and all the governance mechanisms on the launchpad. And 3, we built our ecosystem of partners, which ranges from service providers, VCs, accelerators, to help them and develop with them our ecosystem. And 4th one, we are working on some secret milestones on products and initiatives with partners.
Can you tell us anything about these projects that you've selected? What kind of verticals are they in?
Yeah, it's plenty of verticals. So we have micro lending projects in Kenya. We have a web browser project. We have electric car project. We have also projects aiming to help immigrants rapidly and directly access to essential services. We have industrial projects aiming to lower CO2 emissions into heavy industries, for instance. And we have also alternative protein than the animal ones. So yeah, plenty projects.
So what can the community expect in the weeks and months ahead for Cardashift?
Right now we are in our governance phase. So basically we pushed the 10 projects to our community of club holders, which will be able to vote and choose which project we're going to support and help them raise funds. And so in the coming months, it's the support of those projects, the fundraising of those projects. So 2 or 3 projects will be chosen, and also some other secret milestones that we're talking about. And yeah, definitely the second batch too in the coming months.
It's really nice to see what Cardashift is doing in the ecosystem. Thanks for coming in, Vincent, and giving us that update.
Thank you, Matthew.
And thanks to the community for tuning in. Come back to us next time for more Building on Cardano.
Now, our mid-month technical update is where we catch up with the core delivery team helping roll out new Cardano features and capabilities. In May's edition, we heard from Nigel and Kevin, who walked us through the plan for the Vasil hard fork, scheduled for the end of June. So Nigel, what's been happening this month and how are we doing on the road to the 29th of June?
Well, we're all guns blazing for the Vasil hard fork, Tim. Right now, we're preparing for our closed public testnet phase. So this is a network like any other network. We put all our Vasil features into a controlled environment, and we open up a network with a small group of SPOs who are helping us to test the network initially. We do our initial sort of network tests, and then as we move from there, we can then do further regression tests and move into testing the new functionality. And this will run until we get to the point where we can hard fork the Cardano testnet. Along with our SPO colleagues, we have DApp projects that are helping us running applications on the mainnet and on the testnet, and they really help us to basically test regressions of what they're using in our infrastructure. And they're also then designing new tests for the new functionality that they can take advantage of once we've actually gone past the hard fork. Not only this, all the usual infrastructure products are coming online. So all the familiar names, DB Sync, Rosetta, GraphQL, Explorer, all these products needs to be updated, and they are coming out of their integration phase. And we're now into this process where we can actually start regression testing against these different products. Once we get past this stage, we've got all the basic infrastructure into place.
What exactly will the developers be able to do when the testnet goes live? Tell us a little bit more about what they can expect to see.
So as we move into this final test phase, which is in the Cardano testnet, as we've done many times before, this is the real critical phase when we've got absolutely everything lined up. We've got all the products, we've got the infrastructure in place, we've done some initial testing with the dApps, we've got all the exchanges online, and this is the critical phase where we may find some problems or issues that we need to resolve during that period. It is development at the end of the day. We can't perfectly guarantee exactly what's going to happen, but with our experience to date, we're 100% on track.
Alongside the Vasil hard fork, there's also other work which isn't necessarily dependent on that hard fork, but is aligned with it, and that's diffusion pipelining, of course. Kevin, can you give us an update on where we are with that?
We're expecting to release pipelining alongside the Vasil hard fork, and we're in the final stages of testing right now with some very positive benchmarking results. So we will expect SPOC performance improvements out of the gate, but we are still working on the implementation. We will release the benefits over a period of time. So there will be more to come later. This is going to give us a foundation to continue scaling as we speed up block diffusion, and will allow us to increase throughput, of course, without compromising on security, which is absolutely imperative to what we're doing.
Now, since we filmed that video, the team's been hard at work as ever, and this week spun up a brand new Vasil testnet. Now it's limited to just a core group of SPO and developers for now, and they're putting it through its paces in preparation for deploying on the Cardano testnet. So that'll give app developers an opportunity to get familiar and start working with those new Plutus SIPs. Then onto mainnet, as long as we don't uncover anything unpleasant in the meantime. Now remember, this is software development. It needs to be right, and we're only going to be deploying to mainnet when we're 100% confident. But yes, we're still on track, and we'll keep you posted on progress throughout June. A lot of you are asking for some updates on IOG's work in Africa, so John O'Connor, Director of African Operations, shared this brief update on the ongoing work happening with the Ethiopian Ministry of Education, one of our key collaborators in the region, where we're creating a credentials solution for millions of students. John also announced our new incubator accelerator, Ariob, in partnership with ICE Addis, to help build the next generation of RealFi and DeFi across the region.
Hi there, I'm John O'Connor, Director of African Operations at Input Output, and I'm here today to give you a brief update on what we've been up to across the last year and also some of the things that we have coming up. So the major project which we announced last year was our work with the Ministry of Education in Ethiopia. So we've been diligently working with the government on integrations with the national data privacy laws and the national identity systems. And we're pleased to say that we are now moving into the implementation phase. So as of the last month and this month, our team members at Input Output are with the Ministry of Education, both in Addis Ababa and also in the regions, working with local institutions and educational establishments like schools to onboard people onto the system, teach and train teachers and schoolmasters and mistresses on how to use the platform. So as we finish up these trainings this month, our hopes are that we'll be rolling out live towards students across the next 8 weeks. Our goal by the end of the year is to have 1 to 2 million students fully onboarded and using the software. And next year, we'll expand that to the full 5 million, which was within the scope of the contract. In other news, we've also launched an incubator accelerator with ICE Addis. This is called the IROB Accelerator. Its goal is to help build the next generation of RealFi and DeFi companies on Cardano. We have 25 in the current intake, and they're about to open up enrollment for new startups and new businesses which are looking to build on Cardano in Africa. So if you're interested, if you've got a project or a burning idea that you think needs a bit of support, please look up the incubator program and feel free to get involved. As we move into June, there are a couple of projects which we've been working on for the last 6 to 9 months, which we're hoping to announce. I can't really take the lid off it just yet, but the programs are basically focused on supporting this RealFi vision of connecting up crypto liquidity to real world asset classes. And we hope that we've got enough news items there to keep you guys engaged and excited. So hopefully speak to you very shortly, but thank you very much for taking the time and hope everyone appreciated the short update.
Now, the Vasil hard fork and pipelining, also coming next month, is all about scaling. Let's move on to another core element of Cardano's progress, decentralization, and some of the ongoing work there. Cardano's peer-to-peer project, or P2P, is all about making for a more efficient, more decentralized, and more resilient network. Matthew caught up with Marcin to hear more about some of the work he and the team are doing in development and what the community can expect from the P2P project.
So today I have with me Marcin, team lead for Cardano networking. Marcin, can you tell us what is peer-to-peer technology and what is it bringing to the Cardano network?
Let's start with something very basic. What is the network? First of all, the network consists of many computer systems connected through some wires, and we need to create connections between these computers and distribute information across them. The information being distributed in our case are blocks containing transactions that should flow through the system, making it available to all the peers. So the main point of it is actually data diffusion, that we're trying to diffuse information across the network, which consists of individual connections and individual nodes that are connecting through that network.
Marcin, how does peer-to-peer come into this? What is peer-to-peer bringing to the Cardano network?
So peer-to-peer brings to the network automatic discovery of available peers that are registered on the network, on the chain, and automatic creation of connections between the peers we want. So it's both discovery from the chain and then constructing connections between the peers.
So we've also heard a lot about gossip as a component of peer-to-peer. Can you tell us a little bit about what gossip brings to the network?
So gossip is about discovering nodes on the network beyond the nodes that are registered on the chain. Let's say that I'm running a node without running a stake pool. How can other nodes connect to my node and take its resources to be contributed to the network? And gossip answers these questions. The gossip gives a chance to non-SPO to contribute to the network, that their nodes that they operate can be discovered by relays run by SPOs or some other non-associated relays to connect to your node and take blocks from you and distribute to the network.
So around the new year, you guys had a private test net with a small number of SPOs working on development, on testing. What stage are you guys at now with the development of peer-to-peer?
We're actually feature complete as the networking stands. We're also finished all our essential tests that we really wanted to finish before any release. We're also engaging right now with Galois, who's one of the oldest Haskell consultancies out there, and they are reviewing our design and our implementation. They had very encouraging comments about how we write software and how we've written the network code specifically.
That's really exciting to hear. So what can the Cardano community, the Cardano SPO community, expect to see on peer-to-peer in the next few weeks, few months?
In the coming weeks, you'll hear about rollout of peer-to-peer nodes. It will be a gradual rollout. We'll first ask SPOs to start running a single one of their relays as this peer-to-peer node, and that will be the initial deployment of peer-to-peer nodes on the mainnet.
Thanks for that really exciting update. We're looking forward to what comes next.
So that's nearly it for this month. A couple more upcoming videos to flag before we close the show. Last week we ran a very successful developer workshop in Barcelona to discuss all things audit and certification. We'll have a video update on that for you in the next week or two, featuring a number of projects building on Cardano. So subscribe and hit the bell to get alerted as soon as that lands. Plus, last month, Charles and a number of the IOG team were on the ground in Poland, near the Ukrainian border, to show their support for the team there, meet some of the incredible people helping with the refugee situation, and to discover how IOG might be able to best lend its support. We've made a short film about it, which will be airing right after today's 360, so stick around for that. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you for a special mid-month update in June, direct from the Lone Star State. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.